Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the official launch of Manito Ahbee Aki. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that Louis Riel School Division, LRSD, brings together a community of schools on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ininiwak, and Dakota peoples. Our division is located on the homeland of the Métis Nation, and we recognize that Manitoba is also home to the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Dene peoples. We respect the treaties made on these lands and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and present. We dedicate ourselves to authentic alliances with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and cooperation. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll hear from many of the people who helped bring Manito Ahbee Aki to life and why this project is important to them and to all of us here in LRSD. We'll also take you on a tour of the world and hear from some of our students who have been enjoying and helping build the game in its many beta versions. At the end, you'll be able to ask questions, so please hold on to them until then. Before we jump into the world, we have a few special guests who'd like to share a few words. It is my pleasure to introduce our first distinguished guest, the Honorable Dan Vandal, Minister of Northern Affairs.
Merci, Christian. Anin, bohu, hello, bonjour. It is tradition amongst First Nations to recognize and thank host nations for welcoming them to their land, as well as to show respect for the land as sacred. So today I acknowledge, thank, and honor Treaty 1 First Nations on whose land we are today. And I also acknowledge and honor that we are on the homeland of the Métis Nation. It is my great honor to join Indigenous elders, knowledge keepers, members of the Louis Riel School Division Indigenous Council of Grandmothers and Grandfathers, Frank Deere, LRSD staff and students, Mayor Bowman and Kevin Pisker from Microsoft Canada, to celebrate the launch of the world's first Indigenous teaching resource built in the world of Minecraft. By creating space for Anishinaabe culture within this popular virtual universe, you are giving voice to Indigenous peoples in an innovative way that I hope will capture the attention of young people across Canada and across the world. I hope this will lead to greater interest in the Truth and Reconciliation Committee's calls to action, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and the roles we all play in the path to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Ce projet est un excellent exemple des multiples moyens que nous pouvons utiliser pour approfondir nos connaissances et nos liens avec les peuples autochtones, ainsi que notre rôle sur le chemin vers la réconciliation. It is through education that we learn about history and about culture. By improving our knowledge, we deepen our understanding, our compassion, and our respect. Miigwech to the Anishinaabe elders and community members who shared their knowledge, their teachings, and way of life to make this project possible. Languages are oral history, and I wanted to take this opportunity to also thank Microsoft Canada, who last week added Inuktitut to their translation tool, one of over 70 languages available. Thank you to Microsoft Canada for partnering with Indigenous communities and honoring their voices in the development of these very, very important projects. I hope that today's announcement is just the first of many. Miigwech, merci, and thank you.
Thank you, Minister Vandal. I'm now so happy to introduce the Honorable Rochelle Squires, Minister of Families and Minister responsible for Francophone Affairs, to bring greetings on behalf of the province.
Good afternoon and bonjour tout le monde. On behalf of the province of Manitoba and my colleagues in the Manitoba Legislature, I am pleased to be here with you today. I would like to start by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I am honored to welcome the Louis Riel School Division Indigenous Council of Grandmothers and Grandfathers, Frank Deere, LRSD Scholar in Residence, knowledge keepers from the Manitoba Anishinaabe community, and many other distinguished guests. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, along with Microsoft Canada's Minecraft Education and the LRSD community, for your important work and collaboration. Our government is committed to honoring and advancing the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. Manito Ahbee Aki is the first Minecraft learning resource in the world that will allow students to explore Manitoba's Anishinaabe community in an interactive format. What an informative, engaging, and interesting way to explore Indigenous perspectives while reinforcing the importance of digital citizenship. This inspiring initiative aligns with several of Manitoba Education's priorities and commitments, such as advancing reconciliation and improving student achievement and engagement. Today you will hear more information about this project and how it will advance our shared priorities. The Manito Ahbee Aki Minecraft project exemplifies the importance of collaborative relationships and the integration of Indigenous ways of knowing, being, and doing to support and engage Manitoba students while advancing curricular outcomes. We can hardly wait to see some of the virtual learning experiences this project provides, including building a teepee, crafting a canoe, and joining in on a bison hunt. Please join me in recognizing and celebrating the important work and dedication of LRSD staff and leadership for their foresight and initiative. We thank the LRSD teachers for their vision in bringing this project to life. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Miigwech.
Thank you, Minister Squires. And I'm so sorry for those technical difficulties we encountered. Let's cross our fingers that that will be the only one. I would like to welcome Mayor Brian Bowman to our event and invite him to say a few words.
Thanks for that introduction, Christian. It's my great pleasure to join you on Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I also acknowledge that the water we drink comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation on Treaty 3 territory. Let me first start by saying congratulations. I'm so pleased to join Minister Vandal in congratulating you for all of the work that each of you put into this amazing project. Thank you to everyone who believed in this project, your outstanding superintendent, Louis Riel School Division, Microsoft Canada, led by Kevin Pisker, and all of the teachers and students who put so much time into making this a success. I'm really proud of the great work that you've done, especially during a global pandemic. Who would have imagined there'd be an edition of Minecraft where you could explore an Indigenous community to learn and understand how the people thrived in this land together in harmony with Mother Earth? To be able to visit an authentic Anishinaabe world, to explore and enjoy how it existed before European contact is an immeasurable experience you're providing for students around the world. And you've done so in partnership with members of the School Division's Indigenous Council and grandmothers and grandfathers, and with Frank Deere, the Division's Scholar in Residence and Knowledge Keepers from the Manitoba Anishinaabe community. I'm so excited to see the final product. Let me also say just how proud I am to have Louis Riel School Division as a partner in Winnipeg's Indigenous Accord. Projects like this are an example of reconciliation in action. Seeing our Accord partners thrive through partnerships like this is the driving force behind Winnipeg's Indigenous Accord. And I hope everyone involved in any way with this project takes a minute to appreciate the significance of the sharing and the learning that Minecrafters around the world will experience as a result of your efforts. Well done, everyone. Congratulations on this outstanding achievement. Thank you. Merci and miigwech.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Our last distinguished guest to bring greetings is Kevin Pisker, President of Microsoft Canada. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to join you virtually on Treaty 1 territory and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Inninewak, and Dakota peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. And I also acknowledge the land of Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River, from where I join you today. As president of Microsoft Canada, I am deeply honored that you have included Microsoft in this journey with you. Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And the work that Louis Riel School Division has accomplished exhibits the true power of technology to enable and support our future generations of students and educators around the world. Launching the Manito Ahbee Aki World in Minecraft means that students and educators across Canada and the world will have access to an important resource that showcases a core component of Canada's heritage, the Anishinaabe Nation. Education. It plays a key role in reconciliation to help build understanding, empathy, and mutual respect. We understand this from the calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Humans, we are amazing innovators and we are endless learners. It is fantastic that we can use an interactive game, Microsoft Education Edition, to learn about the Anishinaabe Nation and their teachings. In fact, I'd like to acknowledge Grandmother Chickadee, one of the main characters who brings the game to life and who is participating in this ceremony today. Thank you also to everyone who participated in this important project. Notable is the team at Louis Riel School Division and the elders for your important guidance, your creativity, and your support. Thank you for including us and for sharing your culture and your knowledge with us. And thank you for teaching us all along the way. All my very best to each of you.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you to Minister Vandal, Minister Squires, and Mayor Bowman for being part of our event and for the very kind words you've shared. I've been excited for this day ever since we first kicked off this project back in January 2020 to finally celebrate Manito Ahbee Aki and the 14 months of collaboration, commitment, and innovation that took place during a global pandemic is nothing short of astounding. Speaking of the pandemic, we've had to change, as you're experiencing right now, the way we come together to celebrate by leveraging technology and hoping technology is going to collaborate. Earlier this morning, we gathered together from various locations to celebrate the launch of Manito Ahbee Aki in a traditional way, with a pipe ceremony, star blanket presentation, and a feast. In our time together today, we continue to leverage technology to introduce you to the plethora of people who've been instrumental in breathing life into this Minecraft world. Instead of students, staff, families, and community partners gathering in one large space to celebrate how this project came together, we've created a video that hopefully captures the excitement and energy that went into making this world. Manito Ahbee Aki, the place where the Creator sat. I am so excited to bring to you a brand new Minecraft world where we travel back in time to experience Anishinaabe culture, community, and teachings. I'm so honored and humbled that Microsoft chose us, the LRSD, to be the ones to build this new Minecraft world. And I'm so grateful to Chickadee, one of our grandmothers on our Council of Grandparents. Chickadee is Anishinaabe, and she's guided us through the process, and she's shown so much trust that we would bring to life what we have learned from her in a good way.
I'm grateful to have this opportunity to be able to be part of this Minecraft project. It gives us an opportunity to tell our stories, share our language, and share our lands, what is sacred to us. I believe that our stories have to be told from our perspective. With this project, I believe that you'll have an insight of something that's still intact in our communities among our Indigenous people. And who would ever think that this game would educate people, create awareness? So I'm looking forward to that.
So as you learn from this game and learn some of the stories and the knowledge, it's transferable where you can become maybe a better student, to be a better parent, a better individual, whatever it may be in your life as you get older, but how your consequences of your actions have repercussions, and how do you strengthen your actions to be more positive. When we build an intimate relationship with ourselves, with our families, with our communities, with our nations, with our country, we're able to find a balance within our physical, our mental, our emotional, and spiritual being.
In my role as project manager, it's kind of negotiating between all the different contributors of the world, just to try to make sure that we capture everything that we need to capture in a respectful way to honor the Indigenous education part in the game.
For me, as an Indigenous person, but a mother, a teacher, an auntie, this game means so much to me. It's an opportunity for our children to see themselves reflected in a game, something that we don't often get to see ourselves in. And I think that this will be really impactful for our kids to have that sense of pride of look at my culture, look at who I am, look at who we are as a people, and look at the beauty that exists within all of that.
It's important for the teaching and learning of our students. It's important for the celebrating and the learning of Indigenous culture across Manitoba, and hopefully we can expand that across Canada. It's also important that our teachers have a resource that is aligned to the Manitoba curriculum.
I also think with Minecraft in schools, it places our teachers alongside students in the role of learners. So they have the opportunity that students are speaking this language, they know this, and now teachers can support students, and students are supporting teachers. It makes me very proud to work in a school division that takes on an initiative like this, not just for the benefit of the students of Louis Riel School Division, but for the benefit of Canadian students and, with the scope of Minecraft, students internationally.
The Louis Riel School Board is excited about the partnership with Minecraft. In this 21st century, we can learn history, culture, and understanding for each other through the use of technology, such as the Minecraft game. Through creating, we learn.
The game itself is going to be teaching not only students, but anybody who plays about this culture and about the sustainable way of life and still have today. And how through collaboration and through the ideals of cooperation, respect, and reciprocity, they were able to have a sustainable way of life and survive.
The team has worked incredibly hard to design a game that has many entry points for teachers and students. It can be the basis for an entire unit, a whole month or two of study, or it can be done just in an afternoon. There are tons of extension activities as well as resources to support teachers in however they choose to use the game.
This Minecraft world is very much in keeping with our multi-year strategic plan for the whole of the school division, which at its heart has been inspired by our journey with our Indigenous grandparents and the communities they lead. You might also be wondering what exactly their world looks like and what students will see, do, and learn. Let's take a look.
Buju Anin. Travel back in time to the northern part of Turtle Island before the arrival of Europeans, to a place known as Manito Ahbee Aki. Live amongst the Anishinaabe nation to learn and understand how the people thrived on this land together in harmony with Mother Earth. Each community had its own language, culture, traditions, laws, and governments. These communities worked together and cooperated with one another. As a member of the Anishinaabe Nation, engage in 3 different experiences, which will introduce you to the Anishinaabe worldview. The Anishinaabe Knowledge Keepers will guide you on your journey and help you understand how the peoples respected the earth and her offerings. Your journey will begin where the Assiniboine and Red Rivers meet. This area, which is now known as the Forks, has been a gathering place for Indigenous peoples for thousands of years. Take a moment to notice the muddy waters of the river, the cluster of birch and cedar trees, the abundance of natural medicines, and the diversity of animals. Here, Grandmother Chickadee will give you your first important teaching. From there, Use the sun and the stars to guide you to a sacred place of ancient stories. Now known as the Petriforms, this was a gathering place for knowledge, teaching, and celebration for Anishinaabe peoples. You will meet knowledge keeper Diane, who will share some of these teachings with you. In the final challenge, learn about important values and factors that foster a healthy and thriving existence. You will establish and harvest food resources to be shared by all. Collaboration is essential in a bison hunt that will ensure food security for the community. For the Anishinaabe, human life is about living in balance and in harmony. As you learn about Anishinaabe history and land, you can use the lessons of the past to build a better tomorrow for us all.
Everything you saw in that video was built in collaboration with us and especially for us. You won't find muddy waters, birch trees, or bison in any other Minecraft world. Even the non-player characters are modeled after two of our LRSD teachers, a grandmother from our council and 3 Anishinaabe knowledge keepers from Manitoba. I've relished exploring the world and associated learning activities in their varied stages of development. But how do students feel about what they have helped to build?
It has been really fun for me. I've played Minecraft my whole life, and it's fun to test something new and something exciting that they can develop into the game. It was really interesting to learn about all of their teachings and things I didn't know before through the Minecraft and through the NPCs telling you about it, and it was really interesting. My favorite part is just being able to run around and be guided through what life was like for the Anishinaabe people.
I feel very fortunate to be in this class in order to help and be a part of something so big. My favorite part there are cameras in the game, and I love just going around finding the Saabe and the 7 teachings and just being able to take pictures of them.
It feels really cool that we get to be like a part of this project. It's really cool learning about the Anishinaabe people and what it was like here a long time ago.
As you can see, our goal was to create a unique teaching resource that shows an authentic Anishinaabe community that would capture the imaginations and hearts of students and their teachers and their parents. I think we've achieved that goal. We hope Manito Ahbee Aki also helps in a small way move forward the truth and reconciliation calls to actions in classrooms here in Manitoba and in Canada, while also bringing the universal dialogue of truth and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples to classrooms around the globe. In the very near future, we plan to build 5 additional Minecraft worlds that will bring to life the 4 remaining First Nations that our land acknowledgement reminds us called Manitoba home long before Europeans arrived, and the Métis Nation that blossomed out of the coming together of First Nation peoples and Europeans. I made this commitment in March 2020 when I asked our Council of Grandmothers and Grandfathers to support this project, and I intend to keep it. Now that we have a proof of concept, I hope Microsoft will continue to support us. Their guidance and investment have been essential. I also look forward to reaching out to colleagues in school divisions across Manitoba to partner with us to develop these 5 Minecraft worlds. Until then, we hope educators and students will jump into Manito Ahbee Aki on Monday, February 15th, when the world will be officially available to download from the Minecraft Education Edition website. To everyone on the LRSD Minecraft team, thank you again for your incredible work and dedication. A special thanks to Grandmother Chickadee for her guidance, and to knowledge keepers Diane, Vern, and Isaac, and to Frank Deere, LRSD Scholar in Residence, for contributing their teachings, history, and ways of knowing to this world that we've created. And thanks to everyone who's joined us today to take part in celebrating this project and the people who helped make it a reality. We will now open our question and answer portion of the event. On screen, you'll see the names of people who've joined us today and can answer your questions. You can ask a general question I'll try to answer, or I can direct a question, or you can direct a question to someone specific that you see on the screen. So let's see if we have any questions. When can we play this version of Minecraft? Well, we had hoped it would be ready today, but like any game development, we want to ensure that the product is really as refined as it can be. And so on Monday, which is a long weekend here for us in Manitoba, it's actually opportune. It's Louis Riel Day in Manitoba, is when Manito Ahbee Aki launches officially. But now you need to go to the what's on the screen at the moment, the Minecraft education site to download the game. Let's have a look here. Let's see if I have other questions coming to me. I see Brandon reaching out to folks, asking for folks to contribute questions. Let's see. Go to the very bottom. Is the world suitable for a certain age group? Well, I'm quite old, and I find it very engaging. So I really think it's universal in its design. But what you'll find on the website are learning activities that complement the game, and developed by teachers here in LRSD, and so very much in keeping with curricula in Manitoba, but a curricula that could speak to children across the world. And its focus really in relationship to curriculum has been grades 3 to 8 here in Manitoba. Let's have a look. What is the access available for local control First Nation schools in Manitoba? Was the Manitoba First Nations Education Center consulted? Well, we didn't consult with the Manitoba First Nations Education Center, but we did consult with our First Nations grandparents here in LRSD. So here in LRSD, we are nurturing a relationship with leaders of First Nations communities, and we've consulted and been in a relationship with them throughout the development of the game. And Chickadee, that you were introduced to this afternoon, has guided us on our journey. That said, we're always open to broadening that consultation, and as I've suggested, our hope is that this first world will be one of many, and that we will welcome into the development and the journey Manitobans and First Nations peoples from across the province.
Rachel from CTV has a question.
Okay. I'll go right to the bottom here.
Sorry, a little farther up. Rachel CTV. A little higher.
A little higher. Here we are, Rachel from CTV. Thank you, Rachel. This is so wonderful. My question is, since all Indigenous people are different across Canada with different ways and practices, do you know if there are further plans to make more games reflecting other Indigenous people, or are the 5 Minecraft worlds supposed to reflect all the people? Very good question. So when I speak of our 5 nations here in Manitoba, that's, as you suggest, that's about what I hope to see evolve out of this first Minecraft world for us here in the province. But you're absolutely correct that hopefully this first of its kind Minecraft world will inspire schools, school districts across the country to do the same. and inspire, of course, countries and school systems across the world to do the same in relationship to their Indigenous peoples. Actually, you know, what inspired us was a game developed in New Zealand by the Maori that we had the pleasure of, and as a result of having the pleasure of meeting folks from Microsoft that had been the leads in developing that world.
We have a question from Mark from City News.
Mark from City News is asking, looks great. Can you expand on the experiences students will undertake in the game? I think a bison hunt and making a teepee was mentioned. Yes, and maybe I could call out, maybe I could reach out to Mark or Christopher or Bobby Joe or Corey to answer that question. Let's attempt, let's make an attempt at doing that. Let's try to pulling someone into the conversation here.
Hello, Chris Heidebrecht here, grade 5-6 teacher. Really excited to be a part of the project. I'd like to answer your question by giving you a very quick run through of the 3 phases. Students will begin by learning teachings about tobacco. They'll learn teachings about the directions and how to navigate the map using the sun, the moon, and stars. Students will then have the opportunity to learn how to craft items and then explore the petroforms. After that, they'll take a canoe ride down to the 3rd phase where they'll begin to set up a community. In this area, they'll take part in activities such as trade, a bison hunt, and building a teepees to establish their community with a garden. Thank you.
Thank you. I have another question here. I have a question for Chickadee. Chickadee, what is your favorite place in the Minecraft world?
My favorite part is sharing Manito Ahbee with everyone and the importance of that land-based area, especially because you know, it's in need of protection, and it's, you know, where the creator sits, and we still understand that place, and it's still intact. For a lot of our Indigenous people, we still go ceremony there, and I feel it's important to share that part of our world, you know, as part of our creation story. So for me, it's the area of Manito Ahbee, sharing it, and hopefully, you know, you'll feel the love one day to want to protect it also from future development and desecration. Miigwech.
Thank you so much, Chickadee. We have a question here from the Smith family. Will we need to log in with our LRSD account? Great question. So the Smith family here is reminding us that we're so very lucky in Manitoba. All kids in Manitoba in the public education system have access to Microsoft products. And so indeed, you want to take advantage of that. And so, you know, I think similar opportunities exist across Canada and other parts of the world. And so I think what's important is anyone who's listening to us from outside of Manitoba, look into everything that's available to them as families with students in education systems with respect to access to software and technologies. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Here's a question. Can the game be played with other classmates at the same time? Great question. And I'm going to throw it over to Mark or Christopher to answer.
Good question. You can play up to about 30 kids at a time, any given time when you're playing the Minecraft world. And it's an open, you're hosting the game. So you don't even necessarily just have to play with kids in class. You can invite kids from other classes, but at any given time, you can only have up to about 30 people.
Thank you. Actually, you know what? I'll have you come back. Well, here's another question from a teacher. Hi, my students would like to know if there's an end to the game.
I guess there is when you complete all 3 phases. What ends up happening at the end is a culmination where you kind of create the community. But after you're done the bison hunt, the last thing you're assigned to do is you kind of create the community. And once that's all done, you report back to Chickadee. The NPC Chickadee kind of gives you a congratulations and just kind of, you know, tells you that you've been successful. That would kind of be the end of the game.
And we're going to stay with colleagues in Marion School because this is perfect. This ties to our next question from Rachel at CTV. Hi, Chickadee. For those outside the Indigenous community, what is the biggest thing you want them to understand about the culture, about your culture, your people? Why is that important? Yes, Chickadee, and you're so patient for waiting for your microphone. And you know what? I'm going to stick around. I'm getting lots of questions, so everyone at Marion School, please stay at the ready. So the question from Rachel at CTV Chickadee was, hi, Chickadee, for those outside the Indigenous community, what is the biggest thing you want all of us to understand about your culture, your people, and why is that important?
It's what has kept us alive. It's intact, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it's meaningful. We have a different understanding amongst each other and our relationship to the land and all of the environments that surround us. We're an oral people, so our history comes also from our ancestors, but it also comes from the land and the ceremonies. And I feel it's important to let everyone know that we're still here, we're still intact, we're still practicing our ways, our ancient ways. English.
Thank you, Chickadee. I have a question here for Corey. If Manitobans want to get out and see the land that inspired the game, where would you recommend they visit? And as Corey makes his way to the microphone from Marion School, I want to say the memory that comes to mind for me is how lucky I was to spend some time with Chickadee and others in the Whiteshell at a place that I discovered long ago as a child, but I had the pleasure of exploring alongside my daughters with our knowledge keepers that have been a key part of this game, and this would, for me, be a place I would recommend, I would suggest all Manitobans visit. But Corey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think those are great recommendations, Christian. I think we have the petroforms. The area at the Forks is, where the game begins. That's a great place to explore too, and I know there's a lot of resources at the Forks pointing to the significance that Indigenous peoples played. I also think that any time we could get the kids, students out into nature, into land-based environments with, grandmothers and grandfathers, elders, knowledge keepers as guiders, and to really help them lead the students through a learning experience that comes from the land.
Thanks so much, Corey. And I want to say, and Corey's gone there, right? The amazing work we're doing in LRSD, again, always guided by our grandmothers and grandfathers, and guided by our colleagues that identify as Indigenous. We're doing tremendous work, seeing the importance of land-based education as we work hard to connect our children, our students to the natural world, understanding that our Indigenous peoples have a great deal to offer with respect to connecting to that natural world. I also, going back to October, I forgot to mention Diane, who's with us today as well, who was instrumental and is one of the knowledge keepers in the game, and that has done so much to bring life to what we call the petroforms in the Whiteshell. You know, it's 12:48. We've been at it for a while. We don't need to occupy the entire hour. You've sent so many questions our way. Let's end on one more question coming from Karen Yamada. Karen is Chief Operating Officer for C21 Canada and a former colleague here in LRSD, someone I worked with back in the day, was a coordinator here in the board office, a vice principal, and an amazing friend to LRSD. So Karen is asking about the game. She says, Manito Ahbee Aki, an exemplary model of education that honors the authentic history of Manitoba and features all of our learners. For Bobby Joe, the question's for Bobby Joe. As a mother, having had a voice in this project, why is this so important to you?
Why this game is so important to me as a mother is the opportunity for my children to see themselves reflected in a game. For a lot of history and time, Indigenous people and our children have not had an opportunity to see themselves really reflected in games at such a young age. So for me, it's an incredible experience for my daughter, who is 10 years old, who loves Minecraft, to be able to see herself in this game, and then to also have voice for the learning that's happening in her classroom. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bobby Joe. And so, again, for everyone who's joined us, I'm so grateful. This concludes our event. For media who've joined us, we've made the videos you've seen today available on our website at lrsd.net/invite. And again, I want to thank all of you for joining us. I encourage all of us to start exploring Manito Ahbee Aki next Monday. Stay safe and be well.